breathe and breathe and release and 1 and 2 and breathe and release 1 and 2. Yeah, do you know what? I'm de-stressing myself. And if you can make it to the end of this long speech or this long talk I'm going to be doing, then you might learn something. A few of you, majority of you won't be able to make it to the end because you're not intelligent enough. You haven't got the attention span to be able to do it. And you'd much rather be angry than learn something. So I don't mind if you switch off now. Those who do want to learn something, those who do want some decent information, you carry on watching until the end. You might actually learn something. But the stem of this starts from me being frustrated and getting more and more frustrated with the family law world. I mean, not because family court is perfect, because we know it's not perfect. We know it's not perfect. It's not perfect. No point even saying it is perfect because it's not. Not because Kafkas is perfect, because we know they are not. We know they're not. Not because judges are always get it right, because we know they don't. We know they don't. They absolutely do not. I have seen enough nonsense in this system to know it has serious flaws. I've watched people get failed. I've watched reports miss the point. I've watched parents walk into court frightened, confused, angry, and completely unprepared for what's about to happen to them. So no, this is not me defending the system like some obedient little court mascot with a clipboard and a lanyard. No, the system is broken in places. But that is not the bit that is frustrating me the most right now. What is frustrating me is that everyone who claims to be helping people in the family court seems to have gone after the same thing. Rage, anger, and that's it. Rage baiting, anger, outrage, corrupt judges, evil exes, narcissistic mothers, narcissistic fathers, Kafkas exposed, family court scandal, the secrets they don't want you to know about. Everywhere I look, it's the same recycled outrage, dressed up in a different thumbnail. And people love it. And this is what I find bizarre. People actually love it. Of course they do. Of course they do. Anger feels good when you're hurt. Anger gives you energy. Anger gives you someone to blame. Anger makes you feel powerful when underneath it all, you feel frightened, rejected, humiliated, abandoned, or completely out of control. And I understand that. I get it. I've been there. I'm not sitting here pretending I was born calm, wise, emotionally intelligent, and balanced like some spiritual family court Buddha in a tracksuit. No, I have been angry. I've spent years being angry. I've acted like an idiot. I've been absolutely an idiot. I've gone into things defensively. I have got things wrong. But sooner or later, something has to click. Sooner or later, you have to realize that staying angry is not the strategy. No one likes being angry. You all say you want to be happy, you want to be at peace. That's your choice. That's a choice you're making. Angry is not a strategy, it's a prison. Law internet is full of people and the family law internet is full of people handing out prison keys and calling it support. That is the bit that drives me mad, gets my goat every time. Because the people watching this stuff are not walking into court stronger. They're not walking into court educated. They're walking into court emotionally loaded. They have spent weeks, months, sometimes years being told, the judge hates you. Kafkas hates you. Kafkas hates you. The system is corrupt. Your ex is evil. Everyone is against you. No one likes you. You are the victim. You are at war. And then they walk into court behaving exactly like somebody who believes they're at war. Angry, suspicious, defensive, argumentative, unable to listen, unable to take advice, unable to regulate themselves. And then they are shocked when it goes so badly. But family court does not reward anger. It rewards emotional control. It rewards credibility. It rewards child-focused behavior. It rewards evidence. It rewards the person who can walk in there, even while hurt, even while frustrated, even while angry, and still behave like an adult in the room. And that is what nobody wants to tell people, because it does not get as many likes. And it is much easier to tell a father that everything is corrupt. It's much easier to tell a mother that her ex is a narcissist, and it's much easier to tell people that the whole thing is rigged and they are powerless. Why? Lots of reasons why. But because then nobody has to change. Nobody has to reflect. Nobody has to look in the mirror. Nobody has to ask the most uncomfortable question in family court. What part of this is mine? Now, I left Father's Justice many years ago because of this mentality. Not because every point they made was wrong. Some of their issues were real. Some of the pain is real. Some of the injustice is real. But the anger become the identity. People were not being helped to heal. They're being kept angry. And when you keep people angry, they do not get better. They just become easier to manipulate. They keep watching. they keep clicking and they keep shouting. They keep turning up. They keep feeding the machine because their children do not get their calm parent back. The children get a parent who's still furious, who's still wounded, still stuck, still fighting a war that their child never asked to be born into. And that is where my patience starts to disappear. Because everyone says they love their children. Everyone says they love them. Everyone says, every parent says it. I love my kids. I love my kids. You know what? I'll die for my kids. I would. I'll die for my children. Anyone lays a harm on lays a hair on their head, I'll do them. I'll do anything for my kids. Really? Anything? Really? Would you? Anything? Because some people will say they would die for their children, but they will not even stop arguing for them. So how does that make sense? They'll not stop sending toxic messages for them. How does that make sense? They'll not stop slagging off the other parent for them, but they'll do anything for them, but they won't do that. They will not stop weaponizing the child for them. They will not stop making everything about their own hurt for them. Apparently, they would take a bullet for them though, but they will not take a breath. And that is the problem. If you love your children more than you hate your ex, your behavior should be able to show it. Not your Facebook posts, not your court statement, not your dramatic speeches, your behavior. Because children are watching. They're always watching. They're watching how you talk, how you react, how you handle rejection, how you handle conflict, how you speak about their mother, how you speak about their father, how you manage pain, how you deal with disappointment, how you treat people when you do not get your own way. And then years later, people say, I don't know why my child is so angry. Don't know what happened here. There's nothing to do with me. Really? You do not know? Where do you think they got it from? Where do you think they learned it? Postman? The milkman? Amazon Prime? Some bloke in Tesco by the meal deals? Children are emotional sponges. They absorb the environment they grow up in. If they grow up around conflict, they learn conflict. If they grow up around blame, they learn blame. If they grow up around bitterness, they learn bitterness. If they grow up around hatred, guess what? They learn hatred. If they grow up watching adults treat each other like enemies, they learn that love turns into war. Then we act shocked when they grow up anxious, angry, detached, aggressive, confused, disrespectful, or unable to form healthy relationships. But this does not happen overnight. There is a bigger picture to this, bigger point to this. This is a cycle. This is generational. This is broken people raising broken people. Traumatized parents raising traumatized children. Angry adults producing angry children. Parents who were never taught emotional regulation or intelligence trying to teach emotional regulation and intelligence. Parents who've never learned how to regulate their own emotions trying to raise children who can regulate their own emotions. It's not going to happen, is it? Not going to happen. Parents who've never healed from their own childhood trying to build a healthy home while carrying wounds they do not even understand. How is that supposed to work? How does it work logically? Most people are not parenting from wisdom. They are parenting from wounds. They're reacting to their childhood, reacting to their parents, reacting to betrayal, reacting to abandonment, reacting to rejection, reacting to shame, reacting to trauma. Then they pass it on. Not always intentionally. Most parents do not wake up and think, oh yeah, I think I'm a little Timmy down there. Today I'm going to emotionally damage my child. No, definitely not. Of course they don't. Why would they? Most people are doing the best they can with what they've got. The problem is, what they've got is often a bag of emotional rubble inherited by someone else. And then everyone acts surprised when society looks broken. Why would it look any different? Why would it not look broken? Look at what we are feeding people. Social media feeds outrage. News channels feed fear. Politicians feed division. Family law content feeds victimhood. Dating apps feed disposability. Schools are left picking up the emotional mess. Courts are left picking up the family mess. Mental health services are left picking up the trauma mess. And children are sat there in the middle of it all, trying to build personality out of chaos. Then the parent says, I don't know why they behave like this. I don't know. Look closer. Look much closer. Look in the mirror. Sometimes your child's behaviors is a reflection of your parenting. Not always, but sometimes. And I know that offends people, and it should offend people. Yeah, because if your child is angry, aggressive, manipulative, entitled, disrespectful, anxious, or constantly in conflict, the first place you should look is not the school, not the teacher, not the internet, not your ex, not society. It's the mirror. It's the mirror. That does not mean you are evil. Not at all. It means you're responsible. And that is a word nobody likes anymore. Responsibility. Everybody wants rights. Everyone wants freedom. Everybody wants validation. Everybody wants to be understood. Everybody wants to be seen. And everybody wants to be heard. But very few people want responsibility. And this is bigger than family court. This is much bigger than family court. We are living in a society where people have been taught to hate. Hate your ex, hate your father, hate your mother, hate your brother, hate men, hate women, hate the system, hate the courts, hate the police, hate the teachers, hate anyone who challenges you, hate anyone who asks you to take responsibility, and then wonder why everybody's so miserable. We are teaching people anger and expecting peace. We are teaching children conflict and expecting calm. We are teaching blame and expecting accountability. We are teaching victimhood and expecting resilience. It does not work. It doesn't work. You do not plant nettles and get roses. You get more of what you model. And while everyone is shouting about the same old issues, while everyone is chasing clicks and rage bait and comments, nobody seems to be paying attention to what is actually changing. Actual law, actual policy, actual legislation, actual consequences. Because that requires reading, that requires thinking, that requires nuance. And nuance, well, it doesn't perform very well on Facebook, does it? One of the biggest things people should be talking about right now is the proposed change around domestic abuse and social housing. The government has announced proposals that could allow domestic abuse perpetrators to be removed from social housing while victims remain in the home. That means councils, housing and housing associations. The proposal is that social landlords and the courts could have the powers to remove the perpetrator rather than forcing the victim to leave. There are also proposals around transferring a joint tenancy into the victim's sole name, so the victim is not made to homeless or forced out because of the perpetrator's behaviour. Now, let us be honest. On the face of it, most decent people understand the intention. If somebody is genuinely abusing their partner, controlling them, threatening them, terrorizing them, making their home unsafe, then why should the victim be the one to pack the bags? Why should the victim be on the friend's sofa? Why should the children be dragged out of their home, their school, their routine, their bedroom, because one adult made the home unsafe? That's a fair question. But here is the other fair question. How do we decide who the perpetrator is? Because that is the bit that matters a lot. And the moment you ask that question, some people lose their minds. They act like you're asking for evidence means you're defending an abuser. No. It means you understand justice. Victims need protection. Absolutely. But innocent people need protection too. Both things are true. That is not controversial. That is the foundation of any decent legal system. Because in the real world, not the social media world, not the hashtag world, believing everything instantly or you're evil world, allegations can be true, false, exaggerated, misunderstood, weaponized, delayed, minimized, or made in the middle of a chaotic separation where everyone is acting like they have been possessed by a solicitor with a drinking problem. Genuine abuse happens. False allegations happen. Exaggerated allegations happen. Strategic allegations happen. And people also get wrongly dismissed when they are telling the truth. All of that is a reality. So if the state is going to have powers that may remove someone from their home, then every sensible person should be asking, what is the evidence threshold? What safeguards exist? What happens when allegations are disputed? What happens when there has been no finding? What happens when the family court is still deciding the facts? What happens if someone uses the allegation tactically during a housing or the child arrangements dispute? These are not anti-victim questions. They are justice questions. And if your response to justice questions is to scream abuse apologist, then you are not protecting victims. You're protecting ideology. And that is dangerous, very dangerous. Because once public confidence in fairness collapses, genuine victims suffer too. That is the bit people miss. Weak process does not help genuine victims long term. It creates mistrust, and that creates backlash, and that creates cynicism. It makes everyone more suspicious. The answer is not to ignore abuse. The answer is not to ignore false allegations. The answer is proper evidence, proper process, proper safeguards, proper consequences. But try saying that online. You get fewer likes than a picture with of a sandwich, because rage sells. Rage sells. Balance does not. And that is why half of the family law world is still taken in slogans while the real changes are happening in the background. They're too busy producing the next angry video, too busy being outraged, too busy telling people what they want to hear. And what do people want to hear? Well, that they're right, that their ex is evil, that the system is corrupt, that none of this is their fault, that they do not have to change, that they do not have to reflect, that they do not have to grow. That is the most dangerous drug in family law. Validation without accountability. It feels amazing. It destroys people and it destroys children, because when parents do not heal, children inherit the war. They inherit the bitterness. They inherit the emotional habits. They inherit the fear. They inherit the relationship patterns. They inherit the belief that love means conflict. They inherit the idea that family means pain. And then everyone says society is broken. Of course it's broken. It's built out of broken families, broken homes, broken attachments, broken trust, broken adults pretending they are fine while raising children inside emotional minefields. And yes, people will say that's harsh. Good. Maybe we need harsh, because soft language has not fixed it, has it? Pretending everyone is doing brilliantly has not fixed it. Telling every parent they're amazing has not fixed it. Some parents are not amazing. Some parents are shocking. Some parents are selfish. In fact, a lot of parents are selfish. Some parents are immature. Some parents are emotionally abusive. Some parents are so fucking obsessed with winning against their ex that they cannot see the child standing right in front of the... And some parents are so busy claiming to be victims that they never notice the damage they're causing. And some parents are so obsessed with winning against their ex that they cannot see their child standing right in front of them. That includes men. That includes mothers, that includes fathers. This is not a gender issue. This is not an adult issue. Too many adults are behaving like wounded children still, so it doesn't really matter. Too many children are being forced to become adults before they're ready. And then the courts are expected to sort out a problem that started years before anyone filed a C-100. Family court is often not the beginning of the problem. It is often the place where the problem finally becomes the paperwork. By the time people get to court, the damage has often been building there for years. The resentment, the control, the poor communication, the emotional immaturity, the lack of boundaries, the trauma, the addiction to conflict, the inability to say, I was wrong, the inability to say, I need help, the inability to say, my child needs better from me. And that is why I keep coming back to the same point. The answer is not more rage. The answer is not more slogans. The answer is not more videos teaching people to hate the judge before they've even met them. The answer is emotional intelligence, strategy, evidence, responsibility, self-awareness, calm, and love. I know that sounds simple, but it's not. It's absolutely not. Love is not just saying I love my child. Love is a behavior. Love is restraint. Love is shutting your mouth when your ego wants to the last word. Love is not sending the message. Love is not reacting to the bait. Love is not slagging off the other parent. Love is turning up consistently. Love is doing the boring work. Love is breaking the cycle. Love is saying, my parents damaged me, but I am not going to pass that damage on. Love is saying, my ex hurt me, but my child does not need to carry that pain. Love is saying, I might have been failed by the system, but I am still responsible for how I behave inside it. That is the bit people don't want. They want the magic document, the killer argument, the secret case law, the perfect statement, the one phrase that makes the judge suddenly stand up and apologize and hand them justice wrapped in a bow. It does not work like that. Family court is not won by rage. It's not won by dramatic speeches. It's not won by proving you're the most wounded person in the room. It is won if we're going to use that word by credibility, by consistency, by evidence, by behavior, by showing the court that whatever the other parent is doing, you can remain focused on the child. And that is boring, but boring works. Calm works. Prepared works. Child-focused works. Rage might get you reviews, but calm gets you contact. That is the message people should be hearing. Not go into court and fight everyone. Not the judge is your enemy. Not Kafkas is always corrupt. Not your ex is automatically a narcissist. The message should be sort yourself out, get your evidence together, control your emotions, stop reacting, stop feeding the conflict, stop turning your child into a witness of your pain. Stop letting online rage merchants prepare you for a courtroom they will not be standing in with you when it all goes wrong, because that is what happens. They will get their views. You will get the consequences. They get the comments. You get the order. They get the engagement. You get the supervised contact. You get the dopamine. They get the dopamine. Your child gets the damage. And I'm sick of watching it all go round and round and round. And I'm sick of watching people who are already hurting being made worse by people who should know better. I'm sick of watching parents being told that anger is strength. It's not. Anger is sometimes necessary. Anger can wake you up. Anger can tell you something's wrong. But if you live there permanently, it will destroy you. It will destroy your case, and it will destroy your relationships. And if you are not careful, it will destroy your children. So yes, family court has flaws. Yes, the system needs to be reformed. Yes, Kafkas needs accountability. And yes, judges can get things wrong. Yes, false allegations need to be taken seriously. Yes, genuine victims need to be proper protection. And yes, parental alienation does exist. Yes, some parents weaponize children. Yes, some people use abuse allegations tactically. Yes, some people are genuinely abused and ignored. All of these things can be true at the same time. That is called reality, and reality is complicated. But if we keep reducing complicated reality into rage-bait slogans, we are not helping anyone. We are feeding the fire and pretending we are firefighters. At some point, someone has to be the adult in the room and say, this is not working. The anger is not working. The blame is not working. The gender wars is not working. The endless victimhood is not working. The social media outrage is not working. The children are still hurting. The parents are still hurting. The parents are still broken, and the courts are still overloaded, and the system is still cracking, and everybody is still screaming. So maybe the answer is not to scream louder. Maybe the answer is to stop, think, heal, take responsibility, break the cycle. Because if you don't do that, if you do not break the cycle, if you don't break it, your children will inherit it. And if they inherit it, they'll pass it on again. And that is how it works. That is how society becomes sick. One family at a time, one argument at a time, one bitter parent at a time, one damaged child at a time, one generation handing its wounds to the next and calling it normal. I don't want to be normal anymore. Normal is not working for me. Normal is angry. Normal is broken. Normal is parents who hate each other and children who carry it. Normal is people saying they love their kids while teaching them how to hate. Normal is adults refusing to grow up. So no, I'm not interested in normal. I am not normal. I am interested in better parents, better behavior, better emotional control, better evidence, better support, better conversations, better outcomes for children. If that means telling people things that they do not want to hear, then fine, because someone has to. Someone has to tell parents that rage is not a strategy. Someone has to tell them that their children are watching. Someone has to tell them that the family court is not the place to perform their trauma. Someone has to tell them that allegations must be tested properly. Someone has to tell them that the genuine victims need protection and innocent people need due process. Someone has to tell them that the law is changing while everyone is distracted by clickbait. Someone has to tell them that if they keep feeding the children hatred, then they should not be shocked when their children grow up to be angry. Someone has to say what no one else wants to say. Maybe their system is broken. Maybe the system is broken, but maybe you're broken too. And maybe the real work starts here. It starts there with you. Maybe the real work starts there with you. Complaining about the broken system. Complaining about this is broken, that's broken. You're broken. Why don't you fix you first of all? Stop pointing fingers everywhere else and fix you. Once you're fixed or even half fixed, then start pointing fingers elsewhere. But no one's in a position to do that. No one. So, well, I'm not saying I am, but I'm on a journey. I'm a lot further forward than most. Buongiorno.